So Tim, you be there today?
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful. Okay. Maybe we'll get that 6 inch going, huh?
Okay, we're on.
I think we're on. Well, look at this. Welcome aboard our weekly online starship, everybody. It's the SBAU Astro Hour, our little regular Monday morning vlog for the Santa Barbara Astronomical Unit, our town's longtime telescope and astrophysics club. I am your proud host for Astro Hour, Ronnie Heron, and I'm kind of along for the ride on these things since the distinguished gentleman sharing the screen with me this morning know all about much of this stuff, most of it, and we are still learning, all of us, but
Any
I'm
second
the
now.
guy that's trying to catch up. Climb on
Hello,
board with us,
everybody.
folks.
There it is.
We'll take another cosmic ride through hardcore cutting edge astronomy. Our club, the SBAU, is headquartered up at the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. We invite you to come join us for the fun club that takes on the fun science, and this is episode number 214, April 7th through the 13th, 2025. As we head into our fifth year on the Zoom screen, this week we have our regular planetary roundup, Venus and Mercury and Saturn, well, all of them. How about the Luna? Well, our bright moon will pair with Spica by Saturday. There's a new flat razor thin telescope lens out that could change deep space stargazing. God knows we'd like to get our hands on it soon. And we're going to take on nuclear power in space this week. How dangerous, how efficient, and how much. And who's in charge? Well, President Jerry, our beloved 7 years in office man, is to my left on the screen, Jerry Wilson.
Good
Man,
morning.
he's a PhD, but we don't call him doctor. He's married to the lovely Pat Forgy, one of my biggest supporters. And Chuck McPartlin, our incredible outreacher, is also married to a Pat. Pat McPartlin is a merchandise manager and our new treasurer. We have Tom Whittemore on board. He's married to
Morning.
Maureen, former Westmont beloved instructor who gave up his lab and now bakes bread, and doggone, we smell his house clear up and down the block. He also edits the newsletter. And here is Tim Crawford, who's married to Karen. And he now
Hello.
we don't have to look up his nostrils anymore because he's got rid of that platter or whatever. What do they call that one that doesn't fold over? You were looking down for so many years, Tim.
Oh, yeah, the with the little iPad.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay,
Yeah,
now you've got a laptop.
yeah. I got my fancy laptop that I can't run.
Well, I'm ready for a new one any day now, mostly because the damn keyboard's going out anytime. Some of these things I have to pound on the key to get it to work. And there's something
New
about losing
keyboards,
the
new keyboards are cheap.
The good thing is that now I'm using the old iPad to get the live chat on YouTube. So there'll be a delay, but if anybody has any questions, or comments, at least I can field them. And if I'm anywhere near able to get these questions to you guys in time, I will.
Okay.
okay. I will mention that if I get a chance at the next meeting. And we're missing Bruce Murdoch, president of the Santa Barbara Theater Organ Society. He's married to Bonnie, but probably taking her to a hospital or whatever to get an update on. I guess she's okay walking again. Gentlemen, let's do the sillies. We have about 4 or 5 of the silly science cartoons and some thought provokers, all sent to us by our beloved president. This one I don't recall seeing. We got two entities sitting out there, oh, looking up at the stars.
This
Look
is
at the
from a
stars.
cartoon strip that this thing on the left is a brain, and over here is a heart. You can see two, it's aorta and stuff.
The brain is talking to the heart, and it says, you
Yeah.
know what? At night here, looking at the stars really makes you realize how insignificant we are. And the heart lays back and says, I don't feel like it's insignificant to be aware of that. You're right. Compared
Hi.
to the, yeah, here we go. Bird training, mom to the kid.
Yeah.
A line. That was better. That was better, dear, but let's try to make it onto the car next time, okay? Always bird potty training is what that is. Okay, we expand this one. This is a bad case of crabs. I want no, this is the horseshoe crab. Horseshoe crab, you are awesome, says one vintage animal in the ether. Never change. And it wants to. 250,000 years later, crawling
Billion.
along the bottom, says, I
250
may have
million years later.
Just million.
What did I say? 1,000?
Yeah.
1,000. Yeah.
Because I may have taken that too literally. It hasn't changed, hasn't it? It's,
No, they're found in fossils, and they look just like now.
where do you find them though? What beaches? You see
Uh,
them in
Florida.
speaking okay, speaking of evolution, here we have a crocodile learning the ropes at a keyboard, just
Whoops.
like, uh-oh, we lost it.
Okay.
And he says, you know what? This is fun, but I still prefer seeing you all at the old watering hole. It's a laptop just like Tim Crawford's with animals on the screen.
Yeah.
This one I didn't see. Who's talking? Who are these two people? Three? Oh, okay. I've seen this movie. Why is it so easy, he says, to stay awake until 6 a.m., but so hard to wake up at 6 a.m.? Did I say 6 a.m. both times? Did I
Yes.
say 6 p.m.? I did. And
Yeah.
she says to him, things in motion tend to stay in motion, while things at rest tend to stay at rest. Physics,
God.
physics. That the rock?
That's
Yeah.
the rock.
That's the rock. Okay. Uh-oh. Here's another new one. What are we looking at? That little rolling robot
Yeah.
vacuum?
Or what do they call those?
Roomba.
Roombas. That's right.
That's right.
The
Oh,
cat taxi.
here's what I'm saying. Most dust is
Cat
human.
taxi.
Most dust happens to be human skin flakes. Therefore, Roombas are carnivorous robots, and one day the dust won't satiate them anymore, so they'll just rise up and devour us all. The therapist says back, can we go back to discussing your childhood? And then there's something, I guess that's an ongoing
Yeah, it's
exchange.
on. Yeah,
But AI is starting to frighten some people, and others are. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson says, "Don't worry about it; it's not going to happen."
it's here to stay.
Yeah, and they'll, AI will someday need therapy, and the therapist will also be a computer, I'm sure. The night sky, we're off and running. Just
This
a
is
little.
Morning sky.
the dawn sky.
Oh, is this the day? Okay, looks just
There's
like the night one
That's
too.
that's morning.
yeah, there's east and there's the sun's dawn starting, and there's Tom's elusive Mercury. Oops, there, right
Yeah,
there.
it's really tough right now. Venus is easy, Jerry.
You get up to watch that morning star,
Well,
huh?
yeah, we take the dog out for a walk, and so Maureen gets up about, oh, I don't know, 5:30. I'm more
Mhm.
close to 6:30. And so I always go out and look in the eastern sky.
So you don't set up the instrument?
No, just binoculars,
Mhm.
or eyeballs.
That's all you need for
That's all
Venus.
you need. Yeah.
And here is the Great Square of Pegasus
Hmm.
starting another round, going around the sky.
Hmm.
Stars of autumn already rising.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Now this cursor down here, the circles, that's on the asteroid series. So if you want to see that, there's three planets and one dwarf planet.
Hmm.
4 planets.
Wow.
Now in our planetary roundup, um, Venus is just passing inferior conjunction. And this was a picture taken, oh, I don't have the date down here, but it was recent, and it shows the crescent turning into a complete ring around here.
Mm.
And it's not uniform around there because it's offset from the sun. The only way you would get this bright all the way around is for this to be right over the sun's disk in the background, but then you wouldn't see this at all. So anyway, so it always usually passes above or below, and the sun is of course down this way.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And this morning, Jerry, the Venus was just a beautiful crescent, real obvious in binoculars.
yeah.
At 8 power, real
Mhm.
obvious, very pretty.
So this was taken closer to conjunction than we are now. So you're
And
seeing,
it's always brighter as a crescent on this side than it is as a full lit on the other side.
Yes.
I didn't follow that, but
Yes,
Well,
it's brighter in the crescent phase than it is when it's
yeah,
full, when it's
and give us,
doing a,
yeah,
Hmm.
because it's closer to us,
yeah.
much closer.
Right. Hmm.
Right.
does the same thing happen to Mercury?
Yeah,
Hmm.
It's a crescent
yeah.
sometimes.
But it's not as bright because the cloud
Right.
tops of Venus are very very white. They have a very high albedo.
Yeah, I think Mercury is about magnitude 1 now, something like that.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Hey Jerry, what with Venus? You said if it was right in the middle, that we wouldn't see that annular ring at all.
Because the sun would be right there.
Yeah, the sun
Yeah.
would be there, Tim.
Yeah, if this were uniformly bright around here, then Venus would be directly in line with the sun.
Right.
And with the sun glaring in the background, you wouldn't see this ring at all.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Now I'm getting there's an offset.
And
Yeah,
that would be a rare transit too, Tim,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know.
But
Which
this
I
isn't
don't
the
think is
same.
going to happen for another, what, 50 years or something?
Oh, it's
A
100 years.
couple of
Yeah.
hundred,
Yeah.
right?
Couple of hundred?
Yeah, and
Oh,
then it does
100
it.
and some.
I
Yeah,
thought it
and
was
then it
a,
does it 8 years apart when it does it.
I thought it was 120 years and then 8 years.
Yes, something
That sounds
like
about
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one I think was 2012, Chuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that soon. Yeah, that's right.
2012. Okay.
Okay. Now, going through our planets of the week, Mars.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a cute hockey stick the other night. Castor
Mars was?
Tavares. I think it was a hockey stick.
Okay.
Or
Well,
the you think of the dipper handle?
Yeah.
It went the other way.
Hockey stick. There's a hockey stick up there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, a couple of nights ago, Mars
that's,
a little further down.
yeah, that's a bigger field of view than we're showing here.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
one that you
so,
have here, Jerry, was what I had the other night at the star party.
yeah. So Castor and Pollux and Mars are roughly in a line.
Right.
Mars is moving up here and away, I believe.
Yeah.
And Jupiter is way down here, but we'll see that a bit better in a few minutes. Um, oops. This is a picture of the gibbous Mars.
Really washed out.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Christopher Go, I got to send him a letter. His stuff is usually washed out. So,
Yeah.
You can change it, I think, can't you?
yeah, I just tried that. Let's see, open with Microsoft Office.
Yeah. That's amazing detail for Mars. I mean, it can't be more than 10 arc seconds, right? Right now.
It's 7.3.
Okay, yeah. Real tiny.
Yeah. So if you're looking at it visually, you're probably only going to be able to spot the South Polar Cap.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is an excellent picture.
Wow.
Definitely a gibbous phase.
He images from Cebu, which is,
Oh,
tropical Philippine island.
I see.
So he gets some nice steady skies.
Yeah.
That's where Edgar's from.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
I didn't know that.
I'm trying to imagine, gentlemen, how you get a gibbous Mars. Is it coming up on us in its orbit, or is it past us? Or no, we're passing it, or is it
We
on the other
passed it a
side?
while ago.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks real
Okay,
good.
good. This is Taurus, the bull,
Hmm.
Aldebaran down here, and Jupiter is up here. Now Mars, of course, is way up
Yeah.
above.
Stuck in the horns.
Yeah, stuck in the horns. It's like the ammo in the slingshot.
Yeah.
So this is at 8 o'clock at night, and Uranus is trailing along down here.
And Pleiades is off to our right. Is that correct?
That's
Yeah.
right down
Yes.
there.
Yeah. Tim, follow the belt. Chuck taught me this at an outreach. Follow the belt, go to the right, and you get Pleiades.
Huh. Yeah, that's good. That's
Go to
good.
the left, you get Sirius.
Yeah, the other night I couldn't even find Taurus. I don't know if it was the moon washing it out or what, but
That would do her.
Yeah, that would do it.
Okay, let's see, where's the go-to button? There.
Wow.
This is another picture by Christopher Go,
Mhm.
and it is, this is the non-great red spot side of Jupiter. It's called the backside of Jupiter. This was taken on March 16, and let's see, what is that? Oh, that's Io off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah. So very good belt definition here. Very red. Maybe that's using up the red from the red spot. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Our Earth is going 1,000 miles an hour at our equator turning. I wonder how fast that sucker is going in 10 hours.
Really fast.
Yeah.
Thousands of miles an hour, huh?
Well, if it were the same size as the Earth in 10 hours, it would be doing about 2,000 miles an hour at the equator.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much bigger than that, so it's probably doing like 4,000.
Should be bloated out like a big blob. And
If you look at this, if because when I first started out, I didn't have photographic capability in the 60s, and I was in high school. So I would draw things. And it was pointed out to me, and it correctly so, that you can't start with an empty circle and go out and fill it in because Jupiter is rotating so fast, it's actually flattened at the poles. And if you look at it, you can kind of see that with the naked eye. It's just enough that a circle will not fit the detail in right.
that right?
Yeah, so you have to draw an oblate circle.
Well, is that little dot on the left one of the Galileans?
Yes, that's Io.
It's IO.
Oh.
I love when I ask the kids how to spell it.
Right.
Now this is tomorrow night at 11:30 Central Daylight Time, which is 2 hours from us.
Yep.
So this would be 9:30 p.m. here.
It seems like that was Saturday, huh?
Oh,
5
that's right. You're right. It was
Yeah.
Saturday. I'm thinking today's the 4th, but it was the meeting that was the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the 7th. This was 2 days ago. So don't get
Yeah.
your scopes ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does CDT mean?
Central
Central.
Daylight Time.
Yeah.
Oh, Central Day. Okay, got it
Yeah,
right.
like
I think
Chicago.
is, yeah.
Keep forgetting they do daylight saving time.
Certified dental technician.
Yes. Only you would know that.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Must be fun to live in Phoenix where they never have to worry about daylight saving
Yeah.
time.
This is the full moon, an hour after sunset. This is looking southeast. It's the rising moon in Virgo, coming up later this week. Does anyone remember what the moon of April, full moon is called? I don't.
Mhm.
Easter moon.
Flower moon, maybe?
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, okay, it's officially the flower moon.
And it's in something called Spica.
Spica,
Spike is the bright star
yeah,
there,
the
Ron.
star.
Mhm.
Oh, I see.
Brightest star in Virgo.
Oh, all right.
So I think this is out of order. Let me just check this. No, this is right. So let's go to the next one first. Um, Chuck brought my attention to this article that a new form of very flat lens, like a Fresnel lens, but not a Fresnel lens, is being made now with what we call metamaterials, which is where you use the shape of the detailed shape of the material to get the effect you want with light. And but the article makes a distinction with classic metamaterials, which we'll get into. But it's like a Fresnel lens. And there was an article in Sky and Telescope in 1964 that showed someone taking pictures of bright stars at night with a Fresnel lens. And it wasn't very good. You could tell that there were bright stars there, but that's about it. The Fresnel lens is what we use. It's the big 3 foot by 3 foot diameter lens that you get and to do cooking with and to burn things, in front of you put a fire brick at the focus and it concentrates the sun
Yeah.
and you can boil water or melt lead. It's very efficient.
Or Jerry Lighthouses.
Yes,
Lighthouses.
lighthouses use
Or
We-
RVs have them in the rear view mirror, or rear window
Okay.
to get a look at what's behind them.
Yes. So there's been a lot of uses of these things, but these were not optically great for lenses on telescopes. But this new technology is you can design it to be aberration free, and it's very exciting because it doesn't take a lot of liftoff power to get a very big lens made like this up into space. So it, as opposed if you took for example, that really big camera that was made out of glass for the Vera Rubin, I think it was,
Yeah,
telescope.
the Rubin scope. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest camera lens ever made. That, and it weighs 30 tons or something. So it's you're not going to be able to launch that easily into orbit. But these kind of things can get you really nice telescopes in orbit. So it's a very exciting technology. Now, this is another picture of the lens they're showing there. The idea, so the idea is, I just got chewed out for not feeding the dog. So, but
By the dog, right?
the dog was asleep. No, so this shows the different types of lenses that can be made. These are our classic refractive lenses. NA stands for numerical aperture, and with increasing thicknesses, you can get better deflection. For every aberration you want to correct in a refracting telescope, you need a surface. So if you want to have, for example, three color correction of the spectrum, you need three elements. For two color correction, you need two elements of um,
Flint and
Achromat.
Brown.
achromat. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Flint and
So
Brown typically.
now a diffractive lens is like a Fresnel lens, uses shapes like this, just carved into the surface. And this is a binary diffractive lens. This is the Fresnel lens that was used long ago. This is a multi-level diffractive lenses, and that's the kind of stuff that's being touted in those other two lenses we just saw. There are detailed shapes, and this is a metamaterial. That is, you get the effect of a material property, a bulk material, but you do it by detailing the surface. And we did a lot of this at a place where I consulted, where we were making television sets for infrared missiles to look at. So it would simulate the heat source, but it would simulate a scene and something you put on a missile head on the aircraft carrier so that you can test and verify the missile's operating. But it operates in the infrared, and it's very efficient because when you heat this up, the surface plasmons only emit one very narrow band of wavelength out into and that's controlled by the shape of the detailed shape here. This is going to work with one band of light. This is this is another material for diffractive optics. This is called a meta lens, which I don't make a distinction here, and this has been done also, but the one that they're showing, it has the high potential for spacecraft is this one.
Well, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Based on the history of the telescope, the earliest models back in Galileo's time were all lenses, right? They were all glass refractors.
Yes,
The mirrors didn't come till later, and they're always in the back end of the telescope, right?
that's right.
So if there's a reflector mirror in the back, is there usually a lens in the front, and is that where this would be?
This would be, you can do different things with it. You can use this as a reflective surface, or you can use it as a refractive surface at the front end. You wouldn't use them in combination, but you would put them as a big lens up front.
But
This
are
would
there,
run. This would be like a refractor lens.
Right.
okay, well, but the old days of lenses only had a big lens in the front and a little one back where the eyepiece was, right? They're both,
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens here, this is the old type of um, refractive telescope, say that Galileo used. There's one
Okay.
lens here, and that creates an image back here at the focal point. All these red arrows come together for this lens. And then you take a second lens, a magnifying lens, and you examine that image produced by the objective. You examine that and treating the eyepiece lens as a microscope. So you create an image with the primary and you examine it with the secondary.
But are there telescopes that are reflectors that only have a mirror and it goes
Yes.
to a little one? Everything comes in the front through nothing, no glass, no lens, just
Yeah,
hits the mirror in the back and then gets concentrated. Are there,
yes.
is that how your telescopes work?
Yes, I make Newtonian telescopes. The Dobsonians that you see at our star parties, the big ones like Charles Schuler's, that's a reflector, that's a Dobsonian. It has a big mirror at the back, and that big mirror is sufficient to make the image. You can put a
But do,
film and capture the image, or you can put an eyepiece there and examine the image.
but do they ever put something at the front that's just a flat glass that's not
That's
just
that's like my bigger scope. That's a catadioptric.
Yeah,
so it just sort of keeps it sealed, in other words.
Right, and it also in my scope, instead of being a parabolic lens that a parabolic mirror that brings all the light to one focus, it's cheaper to make a spherical mirror, but that has aberration. It doesn't bring all the light to one focus. And so the glass in the front is like a pair of eyeglasses that pre-corrects for that.
yeah. And the thing that Chuck touched on right there is why there's so many of them is that they're cheaper. They're profitable to make and distribute and sell at a reasonable price.
Well, you've probably covered this, but what's the difference between what we're looking at here and normal refractor lenses? What did they add? What's new?
That's part A there. The part of the picture that's labeled A is the normal lens, and the one that's labeled D down here is the new one, and it's much, much, much thinner.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
is just a layer of plastic shaped onto a substrate.
Hmm. You know,
Good.
I missed most of this. Sorry about that. I was answering something, but it's the other
Okay,
night
Tim, just think of it as magic
Yeah.
objects.
somebody
Okay,
was
go.
talking about astrophysics has a new telescope. Is this it?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, the astrophysics is a new 6 inch and a new almost 8 inch refractor.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be polychromat.
Yeah,
And
but that's just from a normal set of refractive lenses.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, do you suppose refractive lenses could be made out of precious stones like rubies
Uh,
or crystal?
actually, one of the coatings that we put on lenses is ruby.
Is
Uh,
that right?
or excuse me, sapphire. Aluminum Al2O3 is sapphire.
And that's ruby too,
Oh,
actually.
is it ruby?
Yeah.
Okay. So we
So,
deposit things, thin layers of that. Some of these things would make, in principle, good optical elements, but they're mechanically fragile. Um, there's a really good infrared lens material called arsenic trisulfide. And when you have a polished lens made out of it, it looks like a drop of blood. It's very pretty, but it has a very high refractive index of 3.5 or something. So
Oh,
it's very desirable for infrared optics, but it's very fragile. If the thing is at room temperature and you put your finger on it, it will fracture from the thermal difference from where your finger's heating it and the rest of the lens.
Good grief.
They have they have very interesting optical properties, but very poor mechanical properties. One of the things we use, and you can get a telescope in this, but it has to be the central element, is fluorite. It's very water soluble. So it has to be sealed inside between two elements to make the telescope really workable.
fluoride, like what they put in water?
Fluorite.
Fluorite.
Fluoride, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Well, is what we're looking at the future of the telescopes you'll buy to take home, or is it only going to be used by the pros, NASA?
Well, at first, it's probably going to be expensive, relatively expensive to manufacture. So not at first, but eventually.
Okay, but you haven't had a chance to look through them at all yet.
Mm-mm. This is brand new.
Now, I understood that fluorite was actually grown in a lab. Is that right? Or
Virtually everything that we know about crystals can be grown in a lab. It's destroying the diamond industry, but it's there. Let's see, where are we now? Okay.
Fascinating.
See this okay?
Not
Nothing
yet.
up. Nothing up.
Nothing up. Okay.
There it
Yep.
is.
Okay. Whoops. There you go. This shows different lens configurations and their ability to form an image. This is the point spread function for that. You can get it quite narrow. This is 28 microns. Um, this is a 28, oh, I forgot that dimension. But this is the size of the dot, and this is the size of the lens. So these are small lenses, but they have very good image property. A Fresnel lens would not make a dot this coherent.
Well, what are
So
the concentric circles?
these up here, this is the pattern of the lens ring. This is
It's the
looking at
diffraction pattern. You know, everything causes the light to diffract a little when it comes through an aperture. So a perfect image of a star is not just a dot, it's a dot with various rings around it because some of the light gets diffracted.
right, and you're looking at the point spread functions here. And this is for an MDL, which on that previous chart, whoops, uh, multi-level diffraction lens, MDL. And they're making a distinction between MDL and meta lens. Meta lens has been around for a while, and the claim is with this article that an MDL has all these phenomenal properties, an improvement on meta lenses, which is a part of metamaterials.
There's metal in there.
No, meta just means overall larger property type thing.
Oh,
It
I
just
see.
means like.
Yeah.
I
So
got it.
this shows multi-level diffractive lens patterned on a polymer. This shows a magnification of the lens in the polymer.
Wow.
So let me see if I can find my control go
Yeah,
to.
you say meta is light as in weight, is correct?
No,
Not
no.
that light, it's like, Like, meta lens, like a lens.
Oh, like, okay.
You were like, Tim, I never met a lens I didn't like.
See, your brain thinks in puns. It's just that was zero time.
Well,
Yeah, thank
Will
you.
Rogers did say that, didn't he?
Yeah. And here is their function of their chromaticity. The image efficiency, average efficiency over spectral wavelengths.
Hmm.
Now, this is in the nanometers, so this is in the ultraviolet,
Yeah,
if I'm calibrated right. This is in the
visible.
visible, and this is in the
Trying to,
visible.
I'm trying to see some difference in those blue squares, and I don't.
No, they're all very good images. It's showing
Mm.
you the range of which you get good images.
Mhm.
But you can see more spread, like in the lower ones. There's the really,
Uh-huh.
tight image in the center, but you can see more stuff gets sprayed out around it.
Right.
Oh, the
See
numbers are
those
different.
lobes? See those lobes, Ron?
Lobes,
Lobes. Yeah, the last one on the far right bottom. Look at
right?
those. Yeah.
In radio, that's called side lobes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking about the white square inside the blue square.
Yeah, this little figure
Mhm.
right there. This
That's
is the
different.
main. What's that?
It looks just like all the rest of them.
Well, you
No,
can
it's
see
got
that,
bigger side lobes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Side
And you can
lobes,
see in the background, you can see lighter patterns that are missing up here. And that's
okay.
those side lobes, if you can see that if the contrast is high enough to see it. So anyway,
And
that's now this won't make much sense, I realize. These are what are they called? Zernike polynomials. And they are ways of expressing um, aberrations in two-plane image. These are used in adaptive optics. and it's what they measured to figure out how to bend the flexible mirror in order to get rid of certain types of aberrations.
Huh.
So these are the for this broadband lens. These are the aberrations that it have, and these aberrations are very good, very symmetrical. But we're not going to get into that in detail. That could take a whole day. Now, this is the vehicle. We're changing topics now.
Yep.
So this is the vehicle that launched Voyager 1, or
Oh,
excuse me, Viking on a Titan Centaur.
Wow.
So Viking went to Mars.
oh. What year are we talking about?
70s.
Okay.
So this is the oh, I forgot that, but this is a
Radioisotope thermal generator.
Oh, we're talking new.
I was just going to say that.
Tip of my tongue.
Radioisotope thermal generator. This is nuclear power in space, and
Uh,
nuclear power for a lot of these things. Once you get out to where Jupiter is, for example, the Galileo spacecraft, which used one of these, the sunlight is only about 4% of what it is at Earth here. So with the solar array, that takes a gigando solar array to get enough light to get the electricity. So for a lot of our missions, we've been using radioisotope thermal generator, and this is a cross section of that. These are what happens is the center has a radioisotope that just is concentrated enough that it simply gets hot. And the heat is transmitted out through the system into these cooling veins, cooling tubes, and then to cooling veins, and then it radiates the heat out into space. But there's a gradient between the hot inside and the cold outside, and they have these silicon germanium thermocouples spaced in here and in sets of two. And if you put one in the hot area and one in the cold area, they will generate an electrical potential between the two. It's
oh,
the
wow.
it's the thermoelectric effect, and it's the backwards version. It's running backwards. The thing in your cameras at night that do a thermoelectric cooling of your focal plane to reduce dark current. So if you put in the electric current, then it makes one end cold and one end hot. So you make the back of your focal plane cold, and it dumps the heat into the night air. This one is running the other way. You add the heat and you get the electricity out. So all these are detailed things from keeping it going nuts when you're handling it, making it safe.
So no flowing water like a nuclear
No,
reactor down here on Earth. It's not a
no,
dynamo thing, is it?
no, it's static.
Well, what pushes into space?
A rocket.
This isn't a propulsion method, Ron. This is an electricity generating method.
Oh,
Right.
oh, I see. I'm sorry. I thought it was power.
This is replaces the battery or replaces the solar panels
Ah,
for missions. This is not a yeah, exactly a
Now,
shut.
Jerry, I think you mentioned last week that these are not dangerous when they launch them. They're contained very well.
Did I say that?
I thought you did.
The anything that has radioisotopes in it, if it goes crazy and blows up, it's going to produce radioactive debris, and you got to go collect that. It's a danger in the environment. They use different things up here for this material, which we'll get to. This is a piece of what goes in the middle, and this is plutonium oxide, and it's been concentrated enough that it's just sitting there and getting hot. This is glowing by its own light. You wouldn't want to be near it. It's both radioactive and hot. This is the stuff that's used in the center of the Cassini and Galileo missions.
and some of these things have half-lives of what, thousands of years?
Yes, hundreds of thousands of years, some of them do.
Aren't the Voyagers running on this stuff, plutonium way out there?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't have any solar panels.
But we're getting like the equivalent of a 10-watt bulb update.
Actually, you're getting this slug right there is producing 62 watts of power.
On which probe are we
The
talking
one in
about?
this picture, just this thing in this picture, Ron.
Yeah.
Is this from a Viking or a
No,
Voyager or something
no.
that's it's not. We're just looking at the engine or the
This is a
okay.
pellet before it's been inserted into the spacecraft.
Oh, I gotcha.
See
Something
this
you don't something you don't pick up by your hands, I
see
assume.
this red
Yeah.
stuff in here? That's a
Ah,
line of those pellets.
gotcha. What if they're similar to the pellets that are down in the middle of nuclear reactors?
Exactly, but there's no graphite control rods in here. You just
Oh,
have to be careful. And here's a woman being careful.
I would hope so. My God.
This is inspection of the actual Cassini spacecraft RTG before launch.
And that's a Geiger counter she's holding.
Right.
Mhm.
She's measuring the emitted radiation, which should be fairly low.
Looks like her arm is glowing.
But they're based on an upper number elements such as radium or
Now you
cobalt,
can have another common one you'll see later is strontium.
strontium.
Yeah.
Is that a natural element or do we make that?
No, strontium is a natural element.
Oh, it is, but it doesn't
But
last
it gets
long.
made in reactors and made in when bombs go off.
Right. It's a heavy element.
Yeah.
Uranium
That's
comes
that
in
the Russians used it a lot in their space ones. Ooh,
Right.
this one's really washed out.
Okay.
uranium comes in two sizes,
Oh
238 and
no,
230.
there's multiple isotopes.
Yeah.
Oh, is there? And they don't like to stay in the same, do they? They keep breaking down all those upper elements.
They're unstable.
Radium is what Madame Curie, it killed her, I think.
Yes, it did.
Mhm.
Killed a
Mhm.
lot of people.
Can you see this better?
Yes.
Okay. This is the actual New Horizons spacecraft in the assembly bay, and this is the RTG power supply sticking out the side. And this is the antenna, the high beam, the
High
uh,
gain.
high gain, thank you, antenna that points it back to Earth and sends the data back. And obviously, the lady did her job because these guys are not wearing lead suits standing next to it. Little do they know.
A lead bunny suit would be something.
Yeah.
These are the Russian ones.
Yeah, these are Russian ones, and this one is strontium powered Soviet RTGs. And as you can tell, it's in dilapidated condition. When the Soviet Union collapsed, they just parked their nuclear submarines and parked these parts and stuff out in a big field and told everybody don't go near them. And so the U.S. Bought all of their radioactive leftover materials and has been using it or destroying it, neutralizing it. We got a lot of plutonium from them, and the plutonium is made in reactors, and we're coming to a shortage of it in the world, and that's
Yeah.
limiting. It's impacting the ability to make these RTGs for spacecraft.
Yeah. I could just make out the Cyrillic barely. This
Right
is,
Yeah.
there.
yeah, radioactive.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah. It's really blurry, so I can't quite make it out. But
But
Yeah.
that's the first part of it there. Yeah.
yeah, rad. Yeah. C or PAD, RAD.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wow. What's the alternative? What are the alternatives? Batteries, solar panels? That's
Yeah. And we've been using solar
other,
panels for some of these missions like Lucy.
Yeah.
Great big ones.
Yes.
Huh.
but they tend to lose it when the further out you go, I guess.
Right.
Yes. And they're
But
also,
there's a company in town that makes them. They unfurl like big umbrellas and
yes. They should have, yeah, they make big things for shields and solar sails also.
Well, somebody I was talking to recently, and I believe it was you, Jerry, on my ride to and from the meeting Friday, told me that We may be ready in this country to welcome back nuclear power plants.
Yes, I think it's getting ripe. I think there's very good designs out there, very safe. The only problem with nuclear energy is not really a problem, except it is a problem, and that is the public's emotional perception or reaction to the word nuclear power plant.
But
So
there is the whole, nuclear waste problem.
there
Yeah.
is, there is, but and that's a funny thing too, because people, the idea is the concept is sound. You take the stuff out of the ground, the radioactivity, you concentrate it, let it generate heat, then you dissipate the reactive products, which there's some new products in that weren't in there before, and then you put it back in the ground where it came from. And the way they put it back in the ground is to mix it with glass, so it can't reconcentrate. It's an inert system. The radioactivity doesn't damage the glass, and if you and so it can't reheat and melt the glass because it's all dilute in there. And then you put these glass bars, which are about the size of a 50-gallon oil drum. You put them back in a cave somewhere where there's people, agree there's no earthquake faults there, because that stuff is going to be that way for about 100,000 years. And everybody in unison says, not in my backyard. And so that's the problem, not in my backyard. It's not
Plus,
happening.
Okay.
we find, earthquake faults just about everywhere, so it's tough.
Yes, and I don't think an earthquake fault's going to be that damaging to the storage method. So
What about launching them into space?
yeah, well then there's the problem of what if the Starship launching it up there blows up and blows the stuff all over the place.
Well, you have that problem anyway when you're launching up all these art whatever they
No,
would call.
the RTV, the RTG does not have very much in it. These things, your whole payload would be this radioactive waste. And the waste is very heavy, and it's going to cost a fortune to get it up there.
But isn't it still warm, still hot when they bury it?
It
Yep.
depends.
Well, then why?
It's warm, but it doesn't at anywhere near the melting point of the glass it's buried in.
I know, but we can't get anything out of that warmth.
Sure, you can go in there and toast marshmallows.
Well, there's heating problems around the world in the northern latitudes. You'd wonder.
Yeah, but along with that heat, you get some unwanted radiation.
Yeah, it's better just to store it in a cave and leave it alone.
They mix it with glass,
Yes.
which is sand, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, melted sand, silica.
Hmm. Who would have thought? And it's all of them, all the cobalts, the seleniums, the radiums.
Everything that you take out of a reactor. They store
What's
right
what?
now they store it in concrete filled oil drums in the back of the power plant.
Immersed in water quite often in a pool.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And the pool glows blue.
Cherenkov radiation.
Yeah.
we have, I guess, three major problems in the world, don't we? Left over Fukushima in Japan, 3 Mile Island here, and Chernobyl in Ukraine. I think those are the only three, aren't they?
No, there have been multiple meltdowns at other places, especially
Have they?
Russian weapons plants during the Cold
Yeah.
War.
Oh,
They
In
were
just
pretty,
Hanford, in
yeah.
the US.
Hanford did up in Washington.
Hanford actually impaled a worker against the ceiling with a control rod.
You're
Ouch.
kidding.
They built them very poor for safety.
What are those control rods made of?
Graphite,
Okay, graphite,
neutron absorber.
like the interior of a pencil,
That's
Yeah, it's
right.
carbon. Yeah.
Yeah.
and that absorbs it. Okay. What are we looking at? What is that? Is that a part of a
These are
center
the
of
Russian RTGs.
Yeah, you
Russian
see,
probe, huh?
right. You see the cooling fins on the outside,
Yeah.
Okay.
and the core is hot. So there's the gradient. And then you have thermocouples mounted, in sets of two, one hot and one cool. And between the two, they'll be putting out a voltage.
And they tried to put these in iron cages, it looks like, with big triangle warning signs, but they've been sitting out in the open. People have been breaking into them, and the warning signs have deteriorated. So, yeah,
Mhm.
interesting stuff.
You suppose these were sitting inside all those probes that went to Venus? Oh, what starts with the letter V, Variums or
Oh yes, I'm
Venera.
sure. Yeah, Venera.
Veneras?
I'm sure Venera had one of these, and they wouldn't have sent solar panels to that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's the plural
Well,
of Venus, Ron.
what?
It's the plural of the word Venus, Venera.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think they used batteries or something because they died really quickly.
Yes, they did, but
Oh.
I assume that the electronics simply melted
Yeah. Okay.
because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
900
apparently
degrees.
they use diehards.
Yeah.
But I never heard an official word of why it shut off.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised people didn't go and grab some of these and use them as home heaters in the winter. So,
We bought them.
They did have several cases where people stole, I think it was medical
oh yeah,
radioisotope sources like
yes.
cesium, and they were hijacking trucks, and they thought, oh man, this is scrap metal. We can make a lot of money from this, and they ended up irradiating themselves and a bunch of other people on the way to the scrap yard.
And because of that, if you go get iron today that has scrap iron in it,
Yeah.
the iron is radioactive. All the iron produced since 1945 is radioactive. So they dig up battleships from the oceans and they use that iron because that's non-radioactive in
Hmm.
special cases where they want it for scientific experiments where you don't want any radiation coming from the equipment or
Yeah.
from the iron.
All iron that's out there is radioactive.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the rebars that you put in your in buildings, it's got a very low grade, but it does have radioactivity.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
But
Fallout has spread all around the world, Ron.
yeah,
back in 1990, we bought all the used Soviet Union's
we
reactors.
made deals. They kept a lot of it, but they also gave us stuff. And when the Soviet Union broke up, the Ukraine it entered an agreement with the U.S. and gave up all their nuclear materials, all their nuclear weapons in exchange for guarantee of their sovereignty.
Shows how good that was.
Yeah, well, you didn't plan on well, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Another obscure question for you guys. Is it possible that the human body could in a very long time period become immune to this spread of radiation around the globe?
Uh,
I don't know. They're looking at that because, around Chernobyl, they blocked off a lot of space around Chernobyl, which is in the Ukraine. It's not in Russia.
That's right. Right.
And they go and test animals because they're animals that are thriving. The forest has come back to a pristine level with radiation in it. And the some of the animals, particularly wolves, I've read, have adapted to a bit to the radiation,
Wow.
but a lot of them show uh, damage.
abnormalities.
Yeah, abnormalities. That's the right way to say it. Yeah. So, but they're looking at that to see how life could adapt to a high radiation environment.
And there are bacteria that live in the cooling pools at the nuclear power stations called radiodurans. I mean, they're pretty tough and they live in the radiation environment. So they get this scum of bacteria living right next to the hot stuff.
And this is just exactly how some of the classic science fiction movies started.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them.
Wouldn't it be fair to say that radiation is a big part of natural selection? Darwin's evolution is filled with all the mutations. Of course, it came from the sun, something
Cosmic
struck.
rays.
Yeah,
Cosmic
yeah,
rays or
okay.
just spontaneous. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of the cosmic rays do play a large part in the series that Neil deGrasse Tyson took over from Carl Sagan. The universe, was that it? They discussed
Cosmos.
the cosmos. That's right. They
Mhm.
Right.
discussed the radioactive effect on life's DNA and the randomization of errors in there and around. They're trying to correlate around radioactive events. They're trying to correlate that there was a big expansion of diversity of life. But so far, it's just a theory, as far as I know.
Well,
Well,
it's
some of the
hard for
mass
me.
extinctions might be tied to supernova, close supernovas.
Yes, that too.
Wow.
One of them was a rock that fell here. All right, what is this?
This is an RTG that was placed on the moon by Apollo 19.
Hmm.
Or no,
Oh, wait.
Apollo 14.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They only
Apollo
had
14.
they only had five going up there, didn't they?
6.
Six. So this was the last one.
No, 17 was the last one.
Yeah.
And this is a reactor?
This is an RTG. There's a core of plutonium in there.
Hmm.
And these are the cooling fins. And you can see the cable taking the power away
Wow.
To do what?
to drive whatever you want. Listen to KHJ
They
in radio shows.
they put instrument packages on the moon, Ron, like seismometers and of
Yeah.
course a radio to send the data back. So they
Okay.
needed a power source.
Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of a reflector that beams back laser beams?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
Yeah.
but that's passive.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a set of corner cubes.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
the thing
Developed
that
by the French.
it was the thing that makes the stripe on the low road reflective at night when your head beams touch
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
Crystals in the paint send your
Right.
headlights straight back at you.
It's also a great problem in physics. That's for
Yeah.
students.
so the blades on that thing dissipate the heat that wouldn't get dissipated otherwise, as what would melt
Yes.
it down, you think?
Yes.
In order for
Aha.
your thermocouple to work, you want a thermal gradient. You want it hot on the inside and cold on the outside.
We're not looking at rods on the top, those white things.
Yeah.
Are those rods?
No.
Those look like insulators to me. Little
Hmm.
white ceramic insulators.
Okay, so it powers a whole bunch of stuff or just one or two
No,
instruments?
there's probably a thermocouple in every one of these fins or slots.
Well, I'm talking about the power output. What's the wire going to?
To a bunch of instruments, a
Yeah.
seismometer, radio, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, and that was put out there right next to the lander.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they carried that in the command module or in the LEM?
They
No,
probably had a bin somewhere on the LEM.
yeah.
Wow.
And
First, first I heard about this.
the lunar excursion module, the stripped
Hmm.
down car they rode, I believe that was powered by this.
Well, they're going to put a
No, I
bunch.
think they had small batteries on those.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Because I know Bruce worked on it, and he said, "Yeah, I bet if you went up there and you brought some spare batteries and swapped them in, that you'd just be able to drive
Okay.
away in them."
Well, they're going to put a bunch of these in the future. What's the new program called that starts with an A? They're going to the moon. NASA.
Artemis?
Artemis?
Artemis. I'm sure they're going to have those on the South Pole.
Yes.
Wow.
Especially for what they build, or they'll put solar panels up on the crest of the ridges at South Pole, so they're always in sun.
Well, do you suppose these new rogue space programs that Elon's part of the government actually, but the ones
Not
in Texas,
officially.
the ones in Texas, Brandon, what's his name? They keep launching out.
Ted Branson or something.
Yeah,
Isn't
do they
right.
have access to this?
Yeah,
No.
any country could build this.
I guess they only launch, don't they? They don't worry about what's in the
That's
cone.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they'd have a
Fascinating.
tough time getting hold of plutonium.
Yeah.
We hope.
Be
Yeah.
safer to put these in a lava tube, instead of on the surface where they could get hit. Then you'd have the same old problem
Yeah.
with everything being radioactive.
But
But
plutonium
there,
comes,
you don't have a magnetic field protecting you, so you're getting irradiated just standing on the surface anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but supposedly water is a good protection against radiation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's why they're going to send people to Mars someday, and the spaceship's going to be encased in a round thing of water to keep the sun's radiation off of them, right?
And cosmic rays.
Yeah.
And cosmic rays, which
So Dear Elon has just announced today that he will be sending, because years ago he said he'd have people on Mars by 2026. And so today he announced that a Starship with robots on board will land on Mars in 2026.
Ah, God, I was hoping he was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I suggested that this might require his personal supervision to get
Yeah.
to happen
All his starships are exploding, aren't they?
so
Yep.
far.
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't go on board.
so's Tesla, and there's a big investor in Tesla that's saying, "Look, why don't you kind of leave as CEO, and then maybe things will calm down, and we'll be able to actually do some stuff."
Yeah.
Well, he should go out there with his probe and try to meet that Tesla that's in space with a dummy at the wheel.
Yeah, yeah. Have two dummies.
Send them to Mars. Gentlemen, this was awesome.
Yeah.
We only had 4 items on your list there, Mr. President. Didn't we talk? Weren't we going to talk about exoplanets last week and we never got around to it, or a big long list, or did I just dream that up?
There was something at the end of last month, but
It was last month. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting 500 or 5,000, right? Or at least they've nailed
oh,
down.
yeah, yeah, it's up near 6,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's going to be an interesting talk on May 2nd from this lady from UC or Cal State, I think, San Bernardino. Super dwarf galaxies is going to be
Yeah.
the,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm just
Like
wondering,
nearby cosmology. It sounded really neat, Ron. Thanks for getting there.
well, in other words, that's like our local group, the galaxies that are
It sounds
orbiting,
like it's close by. Yeah.
those are
Don't
super
know if it's
small.
just the local group, but sounds
And
like she did some really interesting research.
A
Can you
lot of the
see
local group is that kind of galaxy. So,
can you
Hmm.
see me?
what?
Can you see me?
I
Yeah.
see.
well, you're still doing screen share, so you're small, but
Oh, that's it. I can't get out of screen share. So this
Okay.
is so
So we do a close. I think we're at the end of the
yeah.
fascinating. That'll do
Tim,
it.
I was going to say, Tim, I think I got word from Isla that the observatory may not be open today, so I will send you a message.
Oh,
Okay.
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 It
it
kind of
looks
came
like a
up
good
when we were
day.
talking.
No, that was something saying that the days that the observatory is open is Friday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
I'll let you know. There was an email, but I did not read it. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a chance of high winds today, so that might be a reason to not open it, but we'll see.
Yeah. So
Oh, oh,
I'll let you know, Tim. Thanks again for always coming.
okay. Thanks a lot.
the
Yeah.
great little
Okay.
planetarium show. Listen, gentlemen, we have a meeting online, planning meeting, 4 o'clock next Saturday. I'll see some of you on there with you. And we'll meet back here for number 215 of the SBAU Astro Hour next Monday morning from the astronomical unit. I'm Ronnie, and the guys say goodbye and thank you for tuning
Thanks,
in.
Ronnie.
All
Yeah.
right, you
Thanks,
two,
Thanks a lot.
everybody.
good to
Bye
see
bye,
you.
guys.
If we can bail on this, just 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 blow the nuclear reactor there, but there you go. Uh,